Ellie Parks sits atop the Ferris wheel at the Silverbrook Fair. Thinking her last thoughts.
All I know is that I've had enough. The bad heavily outweighs the good on the scale of my picture-perfect life.
She takes a deep breath, her last breath, and jumps. With a smile on her face, she plunges into the ocean of colors and sound below.
Nobody pushed her. But that doesn't mean nobody is guilty.
Hello, my name is Jody Marks. I'm the host of the Knowledgeable Provider podcast. This is a very special bonus episode of the podcast that has nothing whatsoever to do with medicine. This is my review of a brand new novel called The Fall of Ellie Parks, written by a brand new author called Cayden Richardson. Cayden started writing around the age of 16, published his first novel, which is called Secret Admirer, at the age of 17, and now at the ripe old age of 18, he has published his second novel. Now, I feel like I had a pretty successful high school career. I mean, it all worked out okay, but I didn't publish 2 novels before I graduated. What are the rest of us supposed to do? Extremely, extremely impressive. And in the interest of transparency, we're all about transparency here at Knowledgeable Provider. I got to meet Cayden through my own foray into novel writing over the past year. He helped me a lot with my book, and I've gotten to work with him now on a couple of other projects. I'm super impressed by him, super impressed by his writing. So I want to do everything I can to help promote his work and get his name out there. So this is what I can do. I'm going to start with a synopsis of the story, and then I'll go into a more detailed, deep dive sort of discussion. I'll give you a warning before any spoilers are coming, so you can stop if you have not yet read the book. And you are contractually obligated to buy the book by listening to this podcast. It's in the fine print somewhere, I'm sure. All right, so as you may have gathered from the intro, the story begins with the title character, Ellie Parks, dying by suicide. She flings herself off of the Ferris wheel at the Silverbrook Fair, which then permanently closes in the wake of her death. Most of the book is set 10 years later, when several of her friends, that would be in air quotes, several of her quote-unquote friends, are summoned back to the fairgrounds where she died. And we learn that all of them in some way contributed to her decision to end her life. Each person is summoned back to the fairgrounds by receiving a box with some different mementos inside, and each with a different animal symbol attached to or engraved in the box. And those animal symbols are some of the most important symbolism in the whole book. I'll get to that later. So they all show up to the old fairgrounds, and one by one, they are drugged and captured, and they all wake up together in this super spooky circus tent kind of thing, where they're all around the center platform where the ringmaster person would stand. And they have to figure it out from there. And they end up spending what I would call a harrowing night at the fair, being chased around by somebody who appears to be Ellie herself, and who seems intent on exacting revenge for her death. Just some general things that I liked a lot about the book. From the minute you pick it up, the cover is very attractive. It's very professionally done, very eye-catching. As soon as you open the book, you're met with several interesting different fonts that the writer uses to create a mood. It's chock full of badass Emily Dickinson quotes. I'm pretty sure every chapter has a cool quote that is applicable. The mood of the whole thing is reminiscent of horror movies from the 1980s, 1990s, which the author tells us is part of the inspiration for the book in the first place. I'm not a huge horror movie fan, but if you are, I bet you will pick up on all the little tropes that come from movies like that. And I think those are employed very well in the story, sometimes seriously and sometimes sarcastically. I did enjoy the Saw series of movies, and And the whole time they're at the fairgrounds is very reminiscent of a Saw situation. They have to kind of figure out how to make it through each obstacle or situation, with the stakes being that they die if they don't figure it out, or whoever loses the contest dies. We kind of jump around throughout the story. There's one character that's predominantly the narrator, but we get to hear stories from each different character's point of view also. So that kind of helps keep you guessing and keeps you from figuring out the whole thing before the author's ready for you to. We jump around in time a little bit too, because for each character we see what's happening to them in the present, but then we go back 10 years and learn why it is they're partially responsible for Ellie's death and what happened the night that she jumped off the Ferris wheel. So that does keep you a little bit off balance and makes it a little bit tricky to figure out what's going on. I do appreciate that when we change points of view and when we go backwards or forwards in time, it's very clearly labeled, so you don't have to figure that out. I really like how the mood of the story kind of alternates between feeling silly and light and just like a ridiculous slasher kind of story, but then changes to feel more serious and emotional, or even very scary and very dark. He's very good at toying with your emotions that way. I also think he does a good job of developing the characters pretty quickly. The book's right at 200 pages long, but it's a very fast read. You can probably get through it in a couple of hours or less. But even in that short period of time, you do get a sense of who each character is, and everything kind of ties together very well. There aren't any big glaring like, well, wait, this doesn't make sense, or I don't understand why X, Y, or Z happened. So that's a pretty good overview of the story and my reaction to it. I'm going to switch into deep dive mode now. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers, please stop right here. And if you've not yet read the book and you're planning on listening to the rest of this to get the story without purchasing the book, your device will self-destruct. This is new technology that Spotify is rolling out. So I suggest you save yourself a lot of pain and inconvenience and go to Amazon right now, buy the book. I do care about my listeners a great deal, so I'm just trying to help you out here. All right, here we go. So after Ellie jumps off the Ferris wheel, we learn that there are a lot of different theories that go around town about what happened. Rumors spread, including one very malicious rumor that involved her father. So it wasn't an open and shut thing. People all had their opinions and their theories about what happened to her in the years after her death. I love the way the story starts out. We really hit the ground running here. Oh, that's a funny expression. I didn't even think about using that. But within the first 10 pages, we got profanity, we got cocaine. It's not explicitly said that it's cocaine. I guess it could be meth, but we have drugs. We have some delusional thinking, and we have some suicide. There's no slow build-up going on here. I'm going to go through the characters here in the order they appear. Ellie herself seemingly kind of had it all. Her dad was super rich. Her mom left when she was young. But other than that, she was kind of the ideal person. Several of the characters express some degree of jealousy of her because she seemed like she had it all. She was at the top of the class. She was being recruited by Yale at the time she died. She's described as being someone straight out of a movie. Kind, pretty, with a smile that just lit up the whole room. She was the cheer captain who was dating one of the premier athletes in the school. The next character we meet is Nikki Carter. She is mostly the narrator for the rest of the book. She's the only character that we're with when she actually receives her box. The box was green. It had a snake symbol on it. Inside there was a picture of Ellie from after she died, as in while she was laying on the ground at the fair, all mangled and whatnot. There was a ticket to the fair inside the box, and then the message for her said, "You started this, but you can end it. Fix it where it all began. You know what you have to do." The big twist and the big reveal at the end of the book involve Nikki, so I'll come back to that last. The next character we meet is Finn Hayes, and ooh, you really hate Finn throughout the whole story. He was actually dating Ellie when she died. That night at the fair, he was pressuring Ellie to have sex with him, and he was super pissed that she wouldn't do it. But they were still together. They weren't like on a break or anything. So he runs into Nikki, and he sort of forces himself on her a little bit, and she decides to go along with it, and they're hidden behind some kind of building, sort of making out, and Ellie catches them. So that was Finn's role in what happened to Ellie. The next character we meet is Darius Lawson. We learn that he's super intelligent. He graduated from Harvard, but very apathetic, very lazy kind of a person, it seems. The night Ellie died, she came to him for help, but he was too lazy and he was literally asleep, actually. He was sleeping on a, he came to the fair, I guess, to take a nap on a bench. And Ellie tried to wake him up and ask for help, and he sort of blew her off and went back to sleep. So that was the way he was not a very good friend to her. The next character we meet is Harper West. She is a drug addict. She's been struggling with that for a long time. She provided the drugs that Ellie used the night she died. And even 10 years later, we learn that she is still struggling with addiction and has kind of lost everything in her life because of that. She wasn't super close with Ellie, but Ellie's death did have a positive influence on her for a little while. She kind of got scared straight and managed to get clean, but obviously it didn't stick. The next character we meet is Jordan Bennett. She's a very popular social media influencer. We learned during the course of this ordeal at the fair that she is very willing to throw everybody else under the bus to try to save herself. She was super jealous of Ellie, and she's the person who spread the very sick rumor about her at the fair the night she died that involved her father. The next character is Ezra Torres. Ezra's a gambler. He came to the fair to win all of the games and win all of the prizes, and we see that that has carried through to his present-day life. He works as a stock trader or day trader. Although he's not really doing great in life, it doesn't seem like he's super good at gambling. But he comes by it honest. We find out that his dad was a gambler as well. The night Ellie died, he stole a bunch of money from her. He was trying to defeat the very last game and win the big prize, but he didn't have any more money. And she came along, and remember, her dad is rich, so Ezra begged her for money, and when she wouldn't give it to him, he just took it from her. And his comment after he found out she died was, "Oh, I guess I don't have to pay her back now. Ha ha ha." In retrospect, I don't think I harbored enough hatred for Ezra as the story went on. Most of my hatred was focused on Finn, but Ezra was really a dick too. And the last character we meet is the person who appeared to be Ellie Parks in the present day, and that person turns out to be, drumroll, her father. He is the person chasing all these people around the fairground and killing them one by one to avenge his daughter's death. He's wearing the clothes that Ellie was wearing the night she died, as well as a wig, and then a creepy porcelain kind of mask over his face. So as the other characters are interacting with him throughout the night, they know it's not really Ellie, but they don't know who it is, and we don't know who it is either until the end. Also at the end of the story is when we learn the big twist that Nikki, the primary narrator, is in on the whole thing the whole time. This whole thing was actually her idea, and she talked Ellie's father into participating. But we end up feeling sorry for Ellie's dad because not only did he lose his daughter, we know that his wife had left even before that, and this sick rumor that was started about Ellie involved him. So in a pretty direct way, all these people ruined his life as well. So he didn't feel like he had anything to lose by participating in this whole scheme, and he felt like he kind of owed it to him anyway. So we don't end up harboring any ill will toward Ellie's dad. We learn that he even blamed himself for her death. At one point, he says he wonders if she would have been better off if he had just abandoned her as well and put her up for adoption or put her with a family that would have taken better care of her or whatever. So that was very sad. He was willing to work with Nikki because she was actually the only one of these people who showed up to Ellie's funeral, and her dad had been really pissed about that ever since. I mentioned before that the animal that each character is assigned is very symbolic. The other very symbolic things that happen to them are the ways that they die. So everybody dies in the story. Like, everybody dies. Nobody is left alive at the end of the story. After we fast forward 10 years from Ellie's death, Darius is the next person to die. His animal is a bear, which symbolizes self-preservation and the fact that he slept through the time when Ellie really needed his help. He dies by being electrocuted savagely while he's riding around on a carousel. Harper, who is a drug addict, her animal is a pig, symbolizing harmful habits and overconsumption of drugs. This might be my favorite death in the whole thing. She dies by being gassed and then suffocated with liquid chocolate while she's sitting on stage at this super creepy fake pie eating contest. That's very reminiscent of Willy Wonka, right? Where the kids all suffer harm because of their own individual flaws. Same idea going on here. Jordan, the influencer, she dies in the mirror maze in the funhouse after Ellie's dad crushes her skull with a sledgehammer. Her animal was a lion, which symbolized vanity, strength, and beauty. So in her last scene, it's made very clear that she's studying her own face in the mirrors before she meets her end. Ezra, the gambler, first gets his foot cut off by a demonic bumper car with this giant blade coming out of the front of it. And later he dies on a roller coaster called the Gold Rush. Interesting that he died in a crash, since he's a stock market guy. His animal was a fox, which symbolized him being sneaky and thieving and selfish. Finn, who he mostly can't stand and are sort of eagerly awaiting his death, dies after he is stabbed and then drowned in the Tunnel of Love ride during a lovely saxophone melody that's being played on the speakers. His animal was a ram, symbolizing aggression, irrationality, and head strength, being headstrong. One thing the killer does after each death is actually carve the symbol of the animal into the body of the dead person, and Finn's was carved onto his lower back. So I'm wondering if that was supposed to be like a tramp stamp. He deserved it. Don't worry, he deserved it, of all these people. Ellie's father is the last person to die. He goes back into that creepy circus tent and sets the whole thing aflame with himself inside. He was not assigned an animal, but Ellie herself had an animal. This was one of the symbolic things that I definitely missed until it was explained to me. Her animal was the dragon, and we see that prominently displayed inside the circus tent where the characters find themselves together at first and where her father ends up dying. That symbolizes wrath. So even in the moment, the night she died, she very much intended her act to be a form of revenge on all these people who had wronged her. And then obviously this whole situation where they were actually killed 10 years later. The other bit of symbolism with the dragon is in how her father died, in that dragons breathe fire and bring destruction. So him setting the tent on fire kind of brings that full circle. I saved Nikki for last because to me, her story is really the most powerful part of the whole book. At the very end, there's this moment where it's like a switch flips. You're reading through this story and it's like, oh, haha, fun slasher. It's adorable. It's neat. Okay, I'm enjoying this. And then all of a sudden, it's like the lights come on or the lights go out, or it just totally changes. And you realize that you're a puppet and Cayden has been manipulating you this entire time. There's so much more going on here than what you realize. So the basis of Nikki's story and of the whole book is that she and Ellie were in love with each other, but they could not have a relationship because it wasn't okay for two girls to be dating each other. She confessed her love to Ellie. I mean, they knew they loved each other, but Nikki sort of gave her an ultimatum, and Ellie was too scared to be open about it. Nikki blames herself for Ellie's death as much as anybody else, and she actually harbored some jealousy toward Ellie. So she feels the need to end her life at the end of this whole ordeal in the fairgrounds as well. So she does it the same way Ellie did. She goes up on top of the Ferris wheel, throws herself off. And oh my God, this part of the story just resonated with me. It changed my impression of the whole thing. It's very, very powerful and moving. And the moment you realize all that is the time when she is ascending the Ferris wheel to throw herself off of it, and you're like, oh, wait, no. Oh, so sad, so moving. And when I tell you the tone of the whole thing shifts, like, just listen to this sentence. This is Nikki speaking. I envied her in the way the violent ocean waves envy the shore, constantly grasping at any grains of sand they can, consuming them whole, then becoming one with it. Whoa! Listen to this sentence. This is Ellie's dad speaking. The price of love is grief, and I hadn't even dreamed that I would have to pay it so soon. Oh, wow. Dude can write. There's so much that is going on under the surface that he's touching on here. Obviously, we have the issue of how society treats, I'm going to use the broad term, queer people, non-straight relationships, just the fact that they were scared to reveal how they felt about each other. Just the pain of a person being closeted, or the pain of being in love with somebody who you're not supposed to be in love with. If you're a regular listener, if you know me, you know that I'm a gay man. And so all of this just really hit me so hard. It took me a long time to come to terms with my sexuality. And I have a long history of falling in love with people who either I'm not supposed to fall in love with, or people who don't feel the same way about me. And oh my God, this just ripped my heart out, literally. Golly. All of that's what did it for me. That's why I just love this book and this story. There's a very helpful section after the story is over that talks about all the symbolism and all the stuff you might have missed. And when you read through that, you realize there's a whole other level of stuff going on that you maybe didn't pick up on, or maybe people smarter than me picked up on, but I certainly didn't. We know about the animals being assigned to the character representing character traits. The boxes themselves are actually meant to be metaphors for Pandora's box. Ellie's fall is actually a reference to the fall of Icarus, who flew too close to the sun. And you could also say that Nikki's character represented the sun that Ellie's character flew too close to. Ezra getting his foot chopped off is meant to be a parallel to the Lucky Rabbit's foot, since he's a gambler and all that. There's a specific food truck name that's mentioned in the story that's an Easter egg. That was the name of the restaurant in Cayden's first book. I thought that was super cool. And then the final thing is that there are 7 characters, and so the flaws each one has are the 7 deadly sins, which was part of the original inspiration for the book. So Ellie is wrath, Nikki is envy, Finn is lust, Darius is sloth, Harper is gluttony, Jordan is pride, and Ezra is greed. How about that? So smart, so moving, so much going on in this quick little story. That's all I have to say about it. Kudos to you, Cayden. You did a great job with this. I wish you lots and lots of success, and I can't wait to read whatever you put out next. Everyone, go buy this book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and on Kindle. I'll put a link in the show notes for you, so you don't even have to think about how to spell anything. Just click the link, click that buy now button. It don't matter if it goes to the wrong address. You could buy another one. Read it, enjoy it. Then go back to Amazon. Give it a 5-star rating, leave a nice review. You can do that on Goodreads as well. In the age of algorithms, that's one of the best things you can do to help support anybody you like who makes content. Those ratings and reviews all help get stuff in front of other people's eyes. So if you're not doing that for your favorite creators, you're missing a big opportunity to help them out. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy the book. I hope you have a great week, and I will talk to you later.
The Fall of Ellie Parks by Cayden Richardson. Available now on Amazon.